There you go.
Okay, so we're starting the recording. Yeah, you're seeing it up there. We're being recorded now. And so this is, wow, this is already week 4. Boy, time flies. So we're halfway through. All right, so Roxanne, you had some questions on Excel.
I did. Hang on a second. You guys just disappeared for some reason. Hang on.
Do you know how to work Zoom meetings? We usually go through like a little tutorial, but I didn't.
No, but I mean, it.
Down at the bottom of the video.
I mean, oh, okay. Hi again. Sorry. Okay,
right.
Yeah. All right. So what I did was I used the contact app that you recommended, Export Contact. Used that and downloaded my contacts from my from my iPhone to a Google Docs sheet.
Right.
Okay. But
right, you got to go through an Excel spreadsheet first.
Okay, yeah. So
I think and it's either Excel or CSV.
Yeah, hang on a second. Yeah, so what I have now is I have all of the contacts from my phone they're in my Google contacts and they're in a Google sheet, but I'm having an issue getting that converted to like an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay, is there a reason why you need it in an Excel spreadsheet?
Oh, I thought I had to because that's what you were working on.
No, we're using them in Sheets, but I can show you how to. It's really easy to go from the Sheets to Excel, and I can show you that. And then I can show you going from Excel into Sheets.
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, that way I'll like have it for another time if I need it.
Yeah, it's a logical question that I know everybody's asking. And then what's the difference between Excel and the CSV?
Mm-hmm.
CSV is most commonly used format to update into lists and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Functionality though, I always use Excel, and you can, all you have to do is just go to File and then Save As, and the little drop down menu, you can save it as an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV. It doesn't really matter, and they're pretty interchangeable.
Okay.
I find that most people, like my Kartra app, I can only upload contacts as a CSV file. So if I have an Excel spreadsheet file, which is what I use to work in, I just take the same exact file and I go in File and Save As, and then instead of Excel, I save it as a CSV file. So
okay. Yeah, because right now it's a CSV file in my Google Sheets.
Now, if you're in your Google Drive and it's still as a CSV file or an Excel file, yeah, you need to transfer it over to a Google Sheets, and I'll just show you exactly how to do that if you want. I'll do a screen share and show you exactly how to do that.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm still like a little confused on this spot here. So
yeah, and Google Sheets, as I've become more and more Google oriented, I find that Google Sheets is so much easier to use, and you just got to find out where stuff is. And in the tutorial that we're going through today we're really going to be talking about taking the contacts that you've loaded in and then using them in Gmass. And TJ's a little ahead of the game because we worked on that a lot today. So so this will be good. We really, whatever questions you have, just let us know and we'll walk you through. I've got 3 different videos though on how to install Gmass. Now what Gmass is it's the add-on to your Google Mail. Do you have Gmail?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Are you used to using Gmail?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, good. So we'll do an add-on. Have you ever done an add-on to Gmail?
No.
No? Okay, well, this will be a fun thing because there's all kinds of these little add-on things to all the Google Docs that take these little chores that are hard to do and automate them.
Okay.
One of them is doing mass emails and mail merge emails from your Google Sheets. So we'll put all your contacts into Google Sheets, and then we'll be able to send them a mass email from that sheet. Okay? Is that making sense to you?
It is.
It'll make more sense as we go through it. Now, what we're going to do, the ultimate thing, this is just an interim step, really, but the ultimate thing is what we're going to do is we're going to tie the contact buttons in your Facebook page and on your website. So when it says, hey, I want some more information, and they email your Google or your Gmail address, it will automatically go. We use these things called Zap automations. As soon as it hits your email, so your Gmail, it will automatically go onto your Google Sheets, and then from your Google Sheets, it will automatically get sent an email.
Okay.
And so you'll be able to automate a reply to your request for information.
Yeah.
And that is so critical because, like I just did this, I went through this whole study about the importance of responding quickly to emails or requests.
Right.
And within the first 15 minutes, you actually lose a 400% chance of making contact with a prospect just within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And you know, it's what happens is that when people want something, they Google you, they say, oh, this looks good. They request more information. If they don't get it immediately, they go to the next one. You know, and it's like whoever responds gets the business, you know. And so if you're first to getting a response, then you're in on the conversation, and you have a so much better chance of being in on the, you know, having that person, that inquiry turn into a client.
Right.
And as time goes by, it falls even more dramatically. So really, within the first 15 minutes, it's absolutely critical to get something in their hands. Honey, you got to get that cat out of there.
The tail's cracking me up. I love it.
I know. And that's just one of the cats. It's actually the least aggressive. Her Elsa cat is an orange cat. It's like all over. Like,
oh, awesome.
Get out of here. So anyway, so yeah, it's important to be able to take your contacts and take them and put them into your Google Sheets. And one of the basic things about doing that is converting Excel spreadsheets into sheets and then sheets back into Excel. So I'll just share my screen and just show you how to do it real quick.
Okay, I'm honestly not sure what this is saved in because it doesn't look like an Excel spreadsheet. It's named contacts.csv, but then there's an icon at the top that says open with Google Sheets, and you can choose that if you wish.
And it's like a green, there's a green plus sign. Yeah.
Yes.
So you've got you've got a Google Sheets in, you've got a CSV file in a Google Sheets.
Okay.
So I'll walk you through how to do that.
Thank you so much.
Really easy.
Okay, good.
Now
and I'm working back and forth between two different computers, so.
That's all right. If I can, here we go. All right.
Okay.
I'll size this thing up first. All right, can you see my spreadsheet?
Yes.
All right. I wonder if I go like that, like it makes it really. Now I've just included you guys in. Can you see you guys in there now? The camera over on the right. Anyway, I'm playing. Okay, so now this is a Google Sheet in my drive, in my Google Drive. So the first thing we wanted to try to do is how do you turn this into a Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file, right?
Okay.
So you just go up here to File, go down here to Download As, and you can pick up either Excel spreadsheet or go down here a CSV. You can even do a PDF document or a web page. So which one do you want to do? Pick one.
Oh, I mean, well, let's do Excel. I mean, that's what we work with most, or what I work with most.
All right, so just click on that, and you'll see down here, it's just downloaded down here.
Okay.
Can you see that down there?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then I go on Open. Now it's opening up as an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
All right, so there it is as an Excel spreadsheet.
Okay.
All right, now what if we want to go back to we'll go back to my drive, and now I want to open up an Excel spreadsheet and upload it into my Google Drive, okay?
Yes.
So I'm in my Google Drive. I just go to New and go up here to File Upload, and then I'll click on that and say, oh, okay, so here's the file that is an Excel spreadsheet. I just click on that, Open, and now see it's uploading down here.
Mm-hmm.
And then ta-da, it's right down here. So now I open it up and see it's this is an X, that means an Excel. The plus is a CSV. All you do to change it is just go open it up, and you'd say open with a Google Sheet.
Okay.
And ta-da, there it is.
Okay.
Now,
so basically, it's just taking the same data and configuring it differently based on these different programs or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. And that's all you're doing. Yeah. You're just saving it as a file.
Okay. So now I have a CSV that is in my Google Sheets. So what
you do is from your Google Drive, you'll see the little, thing. Click on it. It will come up, and at the top it'll say Open with, and you click the drop-down menu and say Google Sheets.
Okay.
Go ahead and do it.
I did.
Did it work?
It's processing. Oh, yes, it did. Look at there. Okay.
Yay!
Well, I told you in the email today when you said this was for like techno-challenged people, that is like me. So
good. We're all in the same boat here.
Thank you so much. Okay, I have one more question. Hang on, let me find it. Okay, the second question is, I downloaded my contact list that's in my scheduling software to an Excel spreadsheet, but when I try to import it into my Google Contacts, it says to select a CSV or a V card under 20 megabytes. So does that mean that my contact list is too large to do at one time?
Could be. So are you trying to do it right into Google Contacts?
Well, I thought we needed our, I thought I would need to have those in there. If I don't need to have them in there, that's fine. But
what I'm wanting you to do is I'm wanting you to set up your own Google Sheet that will be your CRM, your client relationship manager. So I want you to save it as its own sheet and then set up a list, a new sheet called your CRM, and then copy everything in there.
Okay. I have a CRM set up that we did one of our other sessions, but it's blank. I haven't moved anything into it.
Right. So now what we're doing is we're moving stuff into it.
Okay. So
you want to make sure it's formatted correctly at the top with name, then first name, last name, email, And what we've done is that in order to keep an idea of and segregate your list based on your source or where you're bringing it from,
Yes.
after email or whatever fields you feel you need to have, I would put another field called source. And then when you copy, you say you copy your 40 contacts in from your phone, and then write phone as the source, and then copy and paste fill the source phone for all those contacts in a separate sheet, and then copy and paste those into a master sheet.
Okay.
Okay? Are you following?
I think so.
What we want to end up with is a Google Sheets worksheet, a spreadsheet. And then you see down here at the bottom where it says sheet number 1. Okay, we want to, I'll just go through and double click on that, and then you delete it. And you're going to say this is going to be master. All right, and then you push enter. Now that sheet is your master, and you're going to have, up here you're going to have name, and then
okay, and is this what we created, like our CRM list master? Is that what?
Yes. Yes.
Like name, first name, last name, email, and date.
Right, and date, yeah, and then you want to add source. So you would take all the ones for your phone, call that phone, all your ones from your LinkedIn, and call that LinkedIn.
Right.
But we basically just want to import them all into the list and then have separate little sheets for each one of those. So it's actually what it is just a really good backup.
Okay.
And a way to segregate your list. And you're going to see why when we start doing mass mails for the Gmass, why that's important.
Okay.
So since we're working on our spreadsheets and stuff like that, I was wondering, like, do we do the client conversations first, or we do the Gmass first? I think we'll do the Gmass first since we're already on that topic. Now, Roxanne, do you have any other questions about, the technical end of things?
Probably about 600, but right now, I don't think so. Let me just make sure I'm on the same page. So correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, I need to pull from whatever sources I want to pull contact information, and I need to get that information in a Google Sheets form, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then once I have it in a Google Sheets form, then I need to condense it so that all of my headers are the same, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so then once I have those separate pieces of data, do I need to then merge all of that into the CRM list?
Yes.
Okay. I know that that's what I need to do, and I know how to do, I think, all of it except how to merge it into the CRM list.
Okay. So when you create them in a separate Google Sheets,
yes,
all you need to do and make sure that the headings are the same.
Right.
So if you make sure all the headings are the same, then all you need to do is just highlight those areas and copy and then paste it into it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's that easy.
Okay. All right. And another question, like, will it automatically be able to differentiate, like, name, first and last name, all that kind of, will it differentiate that on its own?
Yeah, well, that's why you have to make sure that the headings are right.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that is, if you look at the headings on this, I have name, and then I have first name, and then last name. you'll notice that between first and name, there's no space.
Okay, so you don't, that's right. I need to fix that.
That's an important thing.
Okay.
But if all of your contacts or some of your contacts just have the first and last name in one category, we have a little add-on that can split those up automatically.
Okay. So
it's pretty handy.
Okay.
So you won't have to do that manually. So if that's the case, don't worry about it. I'll show you an add-on that will separate those out.
Okay. Okay. I can do all that, I think.
Okay. All right. If not, let me know.
I will.
All right. So now we're going to play the video on there's 3 different tutorials, and they're relatively short, but the first one is really how to install Gmass. And what I found was that you may need to go to, as we did this morning with TJ, or this afternoon with TJ, is that they have changed. When you're in Gmail, there's a little plus button over on the right-hand side. It just says the add-on. So you click on the add-on, and the little screen will come up. It says Gmass, and you download that. Just within the last couple of days, that has changed so that the add-on that is uploaded directly from there is not the one that we're working with, and not the full version. But right underneath that, it has their website. And if you go and copy and paste that into it, it will then be able to give you the Chrome extension. And so you just go to their website and download the Chrome extension onto that, and it walks you through. It's pretty much just follow the instructions. So anyway, it'll make more sense as we go through it. So we got the first one is how to install it, and then how to do a basic email. The next one's how to do a mail merge, and then the third one is how to send out a test email. And each one of these are in the portal separately, so you can watch and do them. And the best way to really do it is we'll watch it as an overview. You get an idea. Okay, this is kind of what I'm doing, and then you go back into the portal and you start playing it, and then you get to a point like, okay, now I need to do something. Pause the video, go and do it. Come back, start the video up, watch the next step, pause the video, and do that step by step. If you do that, it's so much easier. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do the first Gmass tutorial.
John, should we have our
online marketing?
What? Up tonight? Should we have our Gmail on for this tonight?
I don't think so. I think you can just watch it through. Yeah, if you're trying to go back and forth, you might miss something. So just watch it all the way through.
Got it. I'll do it on the replay. Thank
you.
Do
it on the replay. Yeah.
101's Gmass.
Can you hear that and everything?
Series. Hi, this is John Golitz. Today we're going to do a
Can you hear?
tutorial
the volume needs to go up.
Can you hear that?
Barely.
All right.
There you go.
I'm going to raise up. All right.
Gmass.
Better?
Much better.
Well, Gmail.
Yes.
Yeah, much better.
So the first thing that we're going to do is go over here on the apps and make sure you are on the right account. I'm using my daughter Samantha's account as a demonstration. So we're on that account. You just hover over this little icon over in the upper left. And then we are going to go and open up Gmail. So we'll click on this account, on the Gmail icon. And Gmail is loading, and it opens up. What we're really doing, we're adding on a add-on. And the way to find add-ons is this little button, little plus button over here. Just go and click on that, and that will load the G Suite Marketplace. For us, the Gmail Gmass add-on came right here in the first row, which is always a good sign. You know, there's 118,000 users, and it's got just about 5 stars. I've absolutely loved Gmass. So what you would do is you would click on that and go through well, let's just give it a try. All right, so here it is right here. So if it's not on your G Suite marketplace like this one was, then you just go up here in this little search and you search on Gmass. Let's just see what happens with that. Yep, and there it is. So then you would click on that and go through the install. Just click install. Get ready to install. I say continue, but you'll want to choose your account. And then you're going to say yes on the permissions. I allow it. And it's going to install. All right, Gmass has been installed. So now you just click done and click out of this, close. And this is what your email is going to look like. You're going to have these two little red buttons up here. This first one, if you hover over it, and it's now confirming, hey, Gmass has been installed. Here's a little button over here that shows the Gmass. But here's the button up on top here that we really are concerned about. Or this button, red button, will connect to an email list in Google Docs Sheets. This one is when we're going to do a follow-up campaign. So we'll do that in another tutorial next week. Right now, we're going to connect to an email list we have in our Google Docs spreadsheet. So you click on that button and it's loading. So this little window comes up. Now what's this doing is it's connecting with your Google Drive, and it's looking for all the Google Sheets or spreadsheets that you have. It will not connect to an Excel spreadsheet if you have it in Google Drive. You have to convert that into a Google Sheet. So then Samantha doesn't have a whole lot of them in there, so we're just going to drop down. She has one that we've called the CRM list. So you just click on that, and then it will also ask you which sheet within the Google Sheets. So remember we said we'll have a master list and then a client list and a prospect list. This is why you do that, because now we can click on any one of these. So let's click clients and then connect to spreadsheet. And now it's going to basically connect us with all the names that are on that list. Now, if you wanted to segregate and do a smaller list, you just copy and paste and start another sheet within that same file, or you could start a whole nother file. Okay, it's loaded. There's a little red button down there that says click Gmass button instead of send. And over on the right, there is a settings button. And then over here on the left, there's a blue send button. If you push the blue button, it's just going to send like a normal Gmail message. If you click the red button, it's going to send under the Gmass and in the Gmass system, which can include as many names that you have in your list. Although there is a limit to how many emails you can send from your Gmail account, especially for new accounts. So it will be limited by the Gmail restrictions. And then there's a little arrow that says Gms Settings. You want to click on that. And so here you can, the best thing is you can click Personalized, and it goes and looks at all the different columns in your spreadsheet. So it automatically finds the emails, but you can personalize it and say first name, last name. It will connect to any column that you've created in your Google Drive sheet. That is how you connect to your Google Sheets using Gmass. And then you just go ahead and do any kind of email. This is a test email. And I put in there test. and then you go down here and you just click on the red button, and off it goes. So pretty simple way. This is saying, hey, waiting for Gmass. It will say, all right, Gmass is connected, and email will go. So you did it. Gmass has processed your mass email. 0 have been sent because there weren't any names in our drive, but your account is a free one. And there's the button you can click on if you want to get into the paid system. And you always get a little more functionality when you get into the paid system. The paid system doesn't cost very much money. I actually haven't even checked it out how much it is, but I get a lot of functionality just out of this free system. If I were using it for a lot of different emails, using it all the time, like you may be, then I would probably upgrade to the paid system. This is a great system. I really enjoyed using it, and it's really pretty simple. So when you want to go to do an email that connects to your list, you just click on this button here, connect up to your list. If you don't want to do an email connected to your list, just a regular old Gmail, you just go back to this compose button, and there it is, a regular email. See, there's no other address books in there. So very simple how to use Gmass tutorial. Thanks a lot.
All right, so that's kind of how to install it and just do the basics thing. Now this next one is going to be on really how to do a little more step-by-step on how to actually set it up with the spreadsheet and how to do the mail merge.
Hi, and welcome to Online Marketing 101's Gmass tutorial series. This is video 2, Gmass Mail Merge. So welcome to the Gmass tutorial on how to send a mass email using Google Sheets in Gmail. So in this tutorial, we're going to cover the basic process of sending a Gmass mail merge email connected to your Google Sheets CRM from your Gmail account. So to start, click on the Sheets icon, and a window will pop up showing your sheets and allowing you to choose one of them. All the Google Sheets that you own or are shared with you will show in the drop-down. So to choose your Google Sheet, the first step is to choose which Google Sheet you want to use from the drop-down. Only Google Sheets that you own or are shared with you will show up here, and Excel files will not show up. So then you choose your spreadsheet and your worksheet. You don't need to specify which column contains the email address because Gmass will auto-detect the email addresses and read the other columns in the spreadsheet to allow you to personalize your mass email with any of those fields. So here's how to format your spreadsheet. Your spreadsheet headers need to be formatted properly for Gmass to read from it. Proper formatting includes having the first row to have headers like your first name, last name, email address, and it's best that the column names do not contain spaces or special characters. So you stick with basic alphanumeric characters so that way the personalization will work reliably. And then the actual data will start on the second row. At least one column should contain an email address, and Gmass will auto-detect this column. And then to personalize, actually personalizing is really easy. You want to click on the settings arrow, this little arrow down here next to the Gmass. Now you don't want to click on the Gmass button just yet because that will send the email, and I've made that mistake. But you just click on that little arrow button, the red arrow button, and this window will pop up. And then you just go and click on the first name, email address, or whatever personalization you want to insert into the email. And it will insert it wherever your mouse is on the email. You can personalize the subject field or the body of your email. Of course, the natural one is hi and then first name. And then you compose the email just like any other Gmail. And to send, you push the red Gmass button, not the blue button. The blue button will just send it through the regular Gmail, and it won't be able to send all the different email addresses you have attached to your spreadsheet. Now, if you're just using your Gmail regularly, just sending out one email at a time, you can definitely use the blue button. But when you're sending out mass emails that's connected to your spreadsheet, you need to press the red button. So that's it. Pretty simple, very straightforward. Gmass is pretty awesome, and hope you enjoy it.
So that was kind of redundant, but you'd be surprised how many people will only watch like one email. So I tried to kind of do some overlap. Now this next one is really
Hey, welcome to Online Marketing 101, the Gmass tutorial series. This is video 3, Gmass mail merge and segmenting your list. So welcome to Gmass tutorial on how to segment a master list into a sublist and send a test mail merge Gmass email. In this tutorial, we're going to cover the basic process of segmenting a master list in your Google Drive sheets into a sublist, and then sending a test mail merge using Gmass and the email list from your Google Drive. So what's needed for this test email? First, you need to have the email text. And for this demonstration, I've already typed one up in our Word document. And then you need to have a master list, which we already have set up in our Google Drive. And then you need to have Gmail set up with Gmass, which we've done in the previous videos in this tutorial series. So step 1 is segment the list from the master sheet to a sublist. All right, the first step is you want to open up your Google Drive, and we've opened up the sheet. First, you want to make sure you are in the right account if you have multiple Google accounts. So you go up here to the right and check, make sure you're in the right account. And then you want to go and open up your list that you want to segment. For the demonstration purposes, we created the list with Samantha's CRM list, and we're just going to click on that and open it up. Here is the list. We put in some sample emails. Now I've highlighted the green ones. These are the ones we're not going to include, and I just want to show you how you can quickly segment your list and then sort it. So we're going to segment the ones in white, and we're just going to call them test. You can call them whatever you want. And I'm going to show you a quick little way that you can autofill. So if you see this little blue square here, if you just drag, you have to have 2 in a row in a series, and then you just drag it down there and it'll fill in the rest. So, and then we'll do the rest of these here. And this is particularly handy if you're as slow at typing as I am. Now we want to sort these, and so you go up to data and you say, let's see, sort from A to Z. There you go. Now all of these are all in a row, nice and neat. And now we're going to go and create a separate sheet within the Google Sheets worksheet. I guess this would be called a separate worksheet. So we'll click on that, and you can see this comes up as sheet 4. We're going to double click on this, and we're going to call this test, since we're going to do a test. And you click enter. So now we go back to the master sheet, and we just click on and highlight the fields that we're going to take. And you press Control-C for copy, or you can right-click and then just click copy. And then you go down here and click on the sheet and highlight the cell and then Control V or right click and paste. So now you've got your list all segmented onto a separate worksheet. So that's the first step. Now we want to open up Gmail. And again, make sure you're in the right account. Click on the Gmail icon. And ta-da, we're back into Gmail. Now we want to go up into this icon, and we just click on this icon, and you'll see this drop-down menu will happen. And this is now connecting to the Google Sheets. And it's the CRM list that we're after. And now it's going to tell us, okay, well, which sheet? See, there's test. So now we just connect to the spreadsheet. Now it's connecting to that sheet within the Google Sheets or the Google Spreadsheets. And you can see all of those are now, they've been loaded into the selected contacts. So we're going to put the subject is going to be test. I'm going to go down here and click on the Word document that I already have printed out, so I don't have to get you guys going through the agony of seeing me type, and press Control C to copy. Go back here, and then I'm going to press Control V. Now we're going to personalize this. So the way to personalize it, if you remember from the previous video tutorial, we go down here and click on this little arrow. Don't click the Gmass button because that will automatically send it. They probably should do a better job at segregating these, but see, if you hover over this, it says Gms Settings. So you click on that, and we have, the first thing is you want to make sure your cursor is over the place where you want to personalize. Then you click Settings. And now you just go to personalize, this little segment right here, personalize, click your first name, and ta-da, it puts in the first name. Now we'll autofill all the first names from your list and make it look like a very personalized email, even though it's going out to a whole bunch of people, I think 8 people. Now, if you also want to put an unsubscribed list, you can add this unsubscribed link there. That's a really good thing to do. Now it pasted that right where your cursor was, so I could have moved it down here. So I'm just going to delete that and do it again. I'll put the unsubscribed link down here. An unsubscribed link is good if you're sending out a lot of emails to people you don't know real well. So now they can unsubscribe, and your Gmass system will automatically make sure it does not send it to them. So now we are ready to send it. I'm going to just, so when these people get this email, they're going to be like, test, what is this all about? So I'm just going to say test from Gmass. Okay, now we're ready to send. Just push the Gmass button. And it says it's waiting for Gmass. All right, the email has been sent. You see down here it says, you did it. Gmass has processed your email, and 8 emails have been sent. So just checking my email because I put myself on the test list, and I did get the email. Here it is. So the test was successful. It works great. And just make sure that when you're sending out your test, you're sending it out to the enough emails that you're really testing the system, but just the people that you know will know it's a test and not be offended by it. You don't want to be sending out test emails to your prospective clients or whatever. The emails test did work. Let's see. I got an email. So that's how you segment your list and send out an email mail merge using Gmass from your Gmail account. Thanks a lot.
All right. So what did you do with that?
I'll be honest, like, this is the first time I've really felt completely overwhelmed. Like, my brain is so scrambled. And I know that once I start digging into the separate components and implementing it, it'll be better. But right now, it is all one big scramble.
Okay.
But I'll get there.
All right. I know it was kind of over, I made it a little redundant because I figured, well, a little repetition is good. And you'd be surprised how many people won't watch all three of them. Like, they'll just go to one, But I think if you go through them, and just do like I said, where you start them and then stop them, do what it is, then go to the next one.
Right.
Now, TJ, we kind of went through the process. Now you're seeing it, again after going through it. What did you think? Is it making more sense?
It made a whole lot more sense. And you did make it step by step, where I think Roxanne will be able to do it if she just goes step by step. Roxanne seems to have a little more knowledge of Excel, where I didn't have really any knowledge of how to use Excel. So that was a little more challenging for me. But I thought that you broke it down very well. And really, it was everything you had said today.
Okay.
When I was short-circuiting.
I mean, and it's the process. You just kind of go through the process. If you get stuck, like, okay, like we got a little stuck because the little plus thing didn't bring up those little red, the little red buttons at the very top, which are key. You got to have the red buttons. So we found out you just reinstall it as a Google, I go to the website and reinstall it, and there it was. So, but if you get stuck, just let me know.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, though, in the video. You mentioned to go to the website, which was good.
Yeah, and so if you do get stuck, well, we can just do like we did with TJ. We just do a screen share, we'll walk you through it.
Okay. I promise I'll let you know if I get stuck.
And put me on the test, so I want to see the test. Now, I did send you guys, you were part of that test. I did send it to you. So if you find that email will take you to that thing. And right before that, I accidentally hit that red button, and it sent it out before I pasted the thing in there. So you'll probably have 2 emails from me. One of them is with basically all it says is hi. And I was like, I went down there, and I think Sherry started talking to me, and I hit the button. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So,
okay.
Now, if you're finding that my emails are going into your spam folder, put me in your address book and reply. If you do those 2 things there, it's a lot more likely that I'll hit your inbox. So, and that's something good to tell your clients too when you're starting to email them, that, hey, if you want to get my emails, reply to me and put me in your address book, and that goes a long way. So, now the next step that we're going to do is really on the automating things. So when an email comes into your sheets, the Gmass will automatically pick it up and then send out your four welcome emails. And the whole idea of us going through the client conversation is to develop the story that's going to go on those 4 emails. And I'm going to give you I don't want to overwhelm you now, so we're going to wait to give you the format. But after the client conversation step that we're on now is developing your story. The story then goes on to your emails, and then ultimately will also go on to your website and Facebook page and stuff. as you spread that story around. But you'll start to see as we progress how the two separate tracks that we're running are going to kind of merge in together into one nice neat little thing. So but as you can see, like, what could you use what we did today in your regular email marketing? As prospects come into your list and then get sent out the 4 emails, you're going to have different categories. You're going to have people that are going to be responding to your list or to your emails. You're going to have people that aren't responding to your emails, and you're going to want to start treating them differently. The people that are responding, obviously you want to be more engaged with them, and you want to be having a more frequent email conversation with them. So what you can be doing is you can be seeing, oh yes, these people opened, these people didn't, these people are replying. And so you can be basically in your columns, you can be setting up different columns that you can tag as different different categories, different segments. So let's say, for example, if you can start dividing them up into different geographies or different interests. Like, say, for example, Roxanne, you do PMF. If you have one group that is for dogs and one group is for people, or one group is for back pain and one group is for knee pain, okay? So you would send out, if someone has back pain, you can send them out relevant information on back pain. And so you would just like, oh, this person has back pain in the whatever category you want to name it. And then you just sort those, and here comes all the back pain ones. You would copy and paste those into a separate sheet and then send an email out specifically to the back pain people.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So
Now,
I think those kinds of things are like, when I think about sort of my end goal and what I want to see happen from what I learned through this course, those are the kinds of things I think of as my end goal. So
what is your end goal? Do you have that in mind?
Well, I mean, my end goal as far as what I would take and be able to apply, from this course specifically is exactly what you were saying, things like that. Because I've got a ton of Facebook followers. We've got about 700 people who follow our Facebook page. And I know that our website gets a lot of traffic, but I'm not seeing, conversions from that traffic to people, actually walking in the door. Yeah. Certainly not representative of the kind of numbers that I know that are there. So, my end goal is to take that traffic and be able to convert it into bodies in my clinic.
So this is what we're going to do, is that we're going to take and we're going to develop some Facebook ads and a button on your Facebook page. The button is going to say, if you want more information, click here. When they click, it will actually send an email to your email, and that will go onto your list, and then they will automatically get 4 emails going out every other day. Okay, that'll be your welcome series. We'll also set up a post that you can do that will just be pinned to the top and say, this is my story, this is what I do. If you want more information, email me at this email. So we're going to have this Gmail will be specifically for inbound traffic. That will get the welcome series. Okay, so and then when you can do boosted Facebook ads, learn more about, and they will send you an email. That email will hit your list, then your list will start to grow. They'll automatically get 4 emails.
See that's exactly what I'm looking for. I get a lot of traffic on my posts or on my boosted posts that I put on Facebook. I get, and of course it depends on the content, but I get a good average of likes, some comments, shares, views on videos, you know, things like that. So I know that people are engaging, you know, the posts that I'm putting out there. But, you know, like we said, implementing this is going to give me a way, I think, to reel them in, you know, more than what's happening.
Yeah. And so what you can start doing is that you can start engaging with them and encouraging them to email you at this address for more information. Email me at this address for a coupon to get $20 off. You know, email me at this address to you know, get something specific, some piece of content, some free thing, some discount, you know, whatever you can, you know, think of, so that then they start getting onto your list. Then once you get them onto your list, now you can start developing the conversation with them and giving them, this the overall strategy is to the first encounter, the first, you know, 4 to 7 encounters is really kind of telling your story, who you are, what you do, how to engage you, and then giving them a call to action to do that. Okay?
Right.
And then from there, they either do or they don't. If they don't, then they kind of go into more of a long-term nurture campaign, which you're going to do. You're going to have a whole bunch of people that are going to be in that category. And there you start sending those people what I call broadcast emails. And they're going to be much more like just good content that adds value. Talk specifically about things you're interested in that you think they'll be interested in. Things that really, they're not like, you know, come and get my service. They're like, you know, here's how to have a better life. Here's how to, you know, do things that you think are important to them.
Right.
So what it does is it starts to establish you as an authority and you as a trusted person, and you're giving things, and all those things are real important psychological triggers. So if you start giving content, if you start giving services that really help them, they start feeling, it's called reciprocity. They start feeling this obligation to you, and they start trusting you, and they start seeing you as, you know, you're the person. Hey, when it comes to PMF in Chattanooga, you've got to go see Roxanne, because I mean, you know, she's a rock star, you know, and
yeah.
And so and then the next step would be to do videos, but the first step is just emails and develop good content. And you can reuse content, because, you know, you're really going to see 10 to maybe 40%. If you got 40% opening your emails, it's amazing. But still, 60% of the people didn't see it, you know. And even out of those 40%, if you get somebody that's super engaged, they're going to see, they'll want to see stuff again, you know. So in a couple of months, you know, you can, hey, this really works good, send it out again, you know. So you'll develop, what you'll do is you'll develop you know, an inventory of really relevant content. And then, you know, you keep track of the people that open things. So you obviously don't want to send them stuff again. But the people that didn't open things, you know, you can send it to them a couple of times, you know, if you think it's particularly relevant. This email thing actually has a capability where you can keep sending it to them up to 7 times until they open it.
Okay.
Which to me is kind of obnoxious, but, you know.
There's a line between persistent and obnoxious, and I don't know where to draw it, but, you know.
If you get obnoxious, they'll unsubscribe.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they do, that's okay.
Well, then they're not my person.
They're not your tribe. That's right. You just move on to the next. And the whole goal of it, you just got to keep, you know, there's enough people out there. You just got to keep going with your tribe. And when your tribe, when people say, you know, yeah, she's, you know, if I'm going to go and you know, if I'm in Fort Lauderdale, you know, I'm only going to TJ, you know, you can do a lot. And if they like your stuff, they'll read it. If they don't like it or they don't have time, I mean, I have people that say that they put all my stuff into a folder and you know, like once a month they'll go and start reading it, you know, if they got some time. And then they say, you know, I've been getting your emails for a year, and, you know, this just 2 weeks ago, I threw out my back, and I'm like, yeah, and I went and I started reading. I'm like, okay, yeah, now I got to call you. So what your whole goal is really in email marketing is just staying in the game, just keeping your hat in the ring, keeping the conversation going until they're ready. And really, at the very most, 3% of your market is going to be ready at any one point in time. So there's 97% of the people that are out there that have really even expressed interest in you that are not ready yet. And so you just have to, don't be offended by it. Don't be upset or discouraged by it. Just as your list grows, even though they may not seem like they're engaged until they unsubscribe, then their potentials. And as your list grows, your income will grow. It will become a mathematical thing. Like it's like $1 for me. It's like, at least every time you send something out, it's like every 1,000 you get, it's so many dollars. For me, it's practically $1 an email that we send out. It's like it will get to be and it's not as much as how big your list is. It's really what your relationship is with your list. So that's why it's really important that you can, if you feel like people are not at all engaging and not your thing, delete them.
Okay. And I think that's something I want to and need to learn through this process as well. And I know that will, be a lot of what we do when we start putting together, our story and our, conversation and those, subsequent emails. But, I'm really good in person developing relationships, and, I just need to learn how to do that, through these series of emails when I don't have the person, in front of me to be able to communicate with them, eye to eye.
Yeah. So what TJ and I were talking about earlier was so now you need to be really, really conscious of what it is that you're saying when you're in front of people and you're describing what you do, and you want to take those exact same words and you want to bring them into print.
Right.
You want to bring that exact same conversation. The best people are, the best marketers are not, the MBAs and the fancy titles and all that, and the great authors and all that. They're people that write like they speak, and that they are clear about what they're offering.
Mm-hmm.
Really super clear about what their unique capability is, and they can hone in and they can match the audience with the message, and so that there's a real connection there. If you can form that connection and that bond, then it's your list absolutely will be your biggest asset in your business.
Yeah.
So most marketing people, they don't even ever talk about message or how to develop your message or what your unique benefit is. They're just like, do more Facebook, do AdWords, write a blog, do this, SEO. Is that they all talk about tactics. And if you don't have the real conversation behind the tactics, it's just, you're just spinning your wheels, just wasting money. Yeah. Time, wasting your time too. I dropped my rock. I have all these little rocks. When I go hiking, I pick up a rock.
Yeah, I've got a pile of rocks too.
I kind of play with these rocks. I'm looking for my. I've got a rock that I got from Zermatt, Switzerland.
Yeah.
I think Olive stole it.
We don't have rocks. We have sand and seashells, but all the tourists seem to have taken the seashells.
Yeah. Oh, I got seashells too. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I like your sand dollar. That was cool.
Yeah, I got some good seashells. My daughter, I'll say it's funny, we like collecting sea glass, and we were, I can't even remember where we were. So we're walking along with my daughter, and we're looking for sea glass, and she's looking down and all stuff, and all of a sudden she picks up this orange sea glass, and she goes,
The Outer Banks.
"What?"
We were in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, Nags Head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in the Outer Banks. She picks up orange sea glass, orange. I hate orange, and she throws it back in the ocean. We're like, what? Orange is like the most rare of all kinds. You just threw it back. I've never ever seen another orange in my life.
Of course not.
One, she threw it back. Like, so anyway. All right, so we're going to go, and the next videos are going to be, the next video is a longer one, a much longer one, but it's all about telling your story. So, and this actually is one of my favorite things. We have a story that we read. Are we gonna read it, honey? It's our personal story. There's different stories, you know.
No.
There's a story that we read a lot, like a really regularly. We want to read it every single day, but we don't. But and it's really our vision for our life, and it's changed. But we found that reading that story, things that you read come true in really freaky ways, but absolutely come true. So having your story for your business, that's really what we're talking about in this segment, is really developing your story for your business. But it's the same for developing a story for your life. And, you know, the two kind of go together. If you have a story for your life, that really goes into the story for your business. And then the story that you have for your business also is the story that you're telling your clients. And you can see, you know, it's kind of little peeling back the mask that you want to show people. You know, we watched an absolutely great concert from Bruce Springsteen. If you like Bruce Springsteen at all, he has an awesome concert that he does just with a guitar and a piano on Broadway, and talk about peeling back the mask.
Wow.
I mean, it's so personal. I read his book, and the thing on Broadway was even more personal. I can't believe a guy can be that personal, but he goes and tells his story, you know, and it's a phenomenal story. And he goes way back and tells his whole story as he goes through. It's a fascinating story, and he's probably one of the best storytellers of all time. I mean, he's just so great to music too. But I'm always very, very interested in people's story, and I know that the story that they tell, and when you talk to somebody, you can start hearing their story. Oh, I'm not good at this, so I don't do this. I don't have any. If it wasn't any luck, I have. You know, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. You know, all bad, all happened to me. It's like, yeah, you keep telling that story. It's what's.
Yeah.
You know? And people with injuries and pain and all that, they tell their, you know, they own their injury. And it's like, you keep telling that story. You need to start talking about your story, about how you're going to heal, you know, your healing story. But so for us, it's the business story is a really, really important part. And so this is, and this is the kind of the precursor to developing your client conversations. This is like the foundation to the client conversation. So, all right. Sorry, I didn't know I closed this.
Hey, you're doing a great job.
Welcome to Online Marketing 101.
What was that?
Oh, you're doing a great job finding it.
All right, here we go.
101, Step 4. Welcome back to Step 4 in creating your client conversation with finding your authentic voice and telling your story. I think this is actually one of my favorite steps in the whole course. And I hope you spent some time working on step 3 because that was a big one. And don't you now have a much better and much more focused idea of what your strengths and weaknesses are and how you're positioned in your target market? Now is when we start to create a marketing message we call your client.
Can you guys see this? In my view, I have your pictures over here. Are you guys getting, are the videos blocked out, or can you see the whole screen?
Can see the screen. You're off to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cutting off a few of the ends of the words, but I can still see it.
Let's see if I can resize it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh.
How about that?
It was
That's
better.
better.
Is that
Well,
better?
on mine, it was better for a second. Now it's still cutting off the end of the words, but that's okay. Because I'll be watching it again, so don't worry about it.
Conversation by telling your story in your own authentic way. The goal of the client conversation is to engage your prospective client in a way that establishes you as the authority and builds trust and rapport and talks about your service's strengths and overcomes any weaknesses or objections. The result is to convert advertising dollars to a happy client with a reliable and predictable ROI. That's return on investment. The strategy is to unify your message across all your online marketing assets, like your website, social media, and while using automated email marketing, so you provide a lot of value during the buying experience. You do this by engaging your prospective client in a conversation that offers insight about solving their core issues. The overall foundation to the conversation is to talk about how your solution uniquely solves your customer's core issues. This is where you start using the intelligence you picked up in the last 3 steps. If you haven't finished them, make sure you go back before you do this step, or you're going to be shortchanging the whole process. When you're creating your message for a marketing campaign, it should start with understanding your customer's core problems, issues, or struggles. Then offer your unique solution to their problem in a way that adds value to them or gets them to think differently about their issue in a more positive way. This means you need to give them something that they value, like offering them some key insight or teaching them something that they need to know that's going to really help them. Remember, your conversation is not about your modality or your service features, but about how they solve your client's core issues. It gets them to think about their problem in a way they haven't thought of before. So how do you do that? Well, here are some smaller steps that will help walk you through the process of creating your client conversation. First off, creating your persona is one of the most important steps in creating your client conversation. If you think about the conversation in 2 parts, what you say and how you say it. Your persona is the how you say it, or the personality your customer will identify with or not. The what you say is the content or topics you'll talk about. For most, the magic comes when you find your authentic voice and develop your persona as the one you really are, with the good, the bad, and the ugly. So people buy from people they like and identify with, and you cannot be everything to everyone. So don't even try. On an energetic level, people buy from people they resonate with, which is why the law of attraction is just as powerful in business as it is in life. This is why we started out this training with the steps on understanding your why, or your intentions, and then understanding your customer's needs. To have this kind of a relationship, you need to be as clear about your persona as you are about your client persona. If you're not, I'd recommend going back to the worksheet on client persona and fill it out for yourself. This can be a lot of fun, as you may realize things about yourself you haven't consciously thought about for a long time. So here's the action step. Once you become very clear about your persona, I want you to develop your story that you want to share with your clients and prospects. This is your story that you'll share with your clients and should include your intentions, your why, and your vision for your practice and service offering. Your story will be the foundation for your client conversation, so it's really important that you spend some time on this. Several things that you're going to want to keep in mind as you develop your story is that people identify with your strengths as well as your weaknesses or your flaws. In fact, people tend to bond with other people's challenges or character flaws more than your successes. So be real and be honest about yourself, and people will either be attracted to you or be repelled by you. So if you think about it, some of the best commercial personas, they're very polarizing. You tend to either love them or hate them, and that's what makes them so effective. So the law of attraction thought for telling your story. You are the creator of your experience, and you must create your experience deliberately if you're to have the joyful experience that you were meant to have. And so it's really helpful if you begin right now to tell the story of your business the way you want it to be rather than the way it has been. Because telling it the way it's been only holds you in that holding pattern of attraction. So tell your story as you dream it to be and see how the universe will conspire to see that everything that is necessary for the fulfillment of your desires is lovingly and harmoniously drawn to you. When presenting your story, there are some tried and true character storylines that businesses use successfully and have different uses. Here are my favorite 6 basic storylines for you to consider. The comeback. We love the comeback as this is the classic storyline that so many people can identify with because it rings true to their own life. It's the story that's so close to my own as I've been up and I've been down several times, only to pick myself up and discover something new about myself that brought me to a higher level. In fact, after the real estate crash where we lost everything, my wife and I would regularly say that we believe in comebacks. And we did make a great comeback. So now we're better than ever. And there are just many examples of this great storyline, like the story of Jesus' crucifixion and the resurrection. Like in Jesus' story, a lot of people identify with the crucifixion, but really the story is about the comeback. That's why he's known for saying, I am the resurrection and the light, not I am the crucifixion. So most movies, though, have this basic storyline as the main character starts out going great, and then some tragedy happens that brings him to near death, only to rise and conquer the demons and, of course, get the girl. So I love Westerns, and my favorite Western writer is Louis L'Amour. In just about all his books, he follows the same storyline as the character, usually a cowboy, becomes down on his luck. But he has a big dream, and through many fights and conflicts with the big ranchers in the area, he ultimately prevails, and he gets the ranch of his dreams and the girl that he hated at first, but now he falls in love with. So I know what's coming, but I still love it. It's crazy. So the next one is Now and Then. This is a story of transformation and can be used in many different industries. It starts out with the problem or the issue, and then they use your product and the transformation. This is easily seen in the weight loss market. I was obese, then I took this pill, and now I'm thin. Well, I wasn't exactly obese, and I didn't take any pills, but I have lost 40 pounds, so I thought this would be a good example. Now and then. So the next one is It Happened to Me, So It Can Happen to You. This is a big one too for us because we use this a lot. And it's something that people really identify with. So these stories help people believe that the answer they've been searching for is finally here. It starts with an amazing discovery that you've been searching for and now available. It's made all the difference in your life. The basic concept that people identify with is that if it happened to you, it can happen to them too. So the next one is The Secret. This was really popular several years ago, as it seemed to be everything was a secret. There was even a book and a whole personal development movement titled The Secret, and that was used to market the concept of the law of attraction, which, as you know, is a foundational belief for us. So everyone loves to find out what the secret is, and it creates a powerful curiosity that draws the customer into your story. And the next one is the third-party testimonial. Using your story as a third-party testimonial can be effective, as well as using other people's success stories about your service. People always like hearing real successes, and when they're true, you can make claims that would otherwise get you in trouble. I used this storyline when I was selling PMF devices, and that it helped my 30-year back pain. After 30 years of chronic pain, and I tried just about everything, I healed my back with PMF, and now I'm pain-free. It was true, and it was a great storyline, and combined with it happened to me so it can happen to you, it was really powerful. And as you can see, a whole industry has been developed by testimonials with TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor literally makes or breaks restaurants and all kinds of businesses, and it is based on the third-party testimonial, and it's really powerful. So the last one is the underdog. Last but not least, one of my favorites. You may not be old enough, but one of my favorite cartoons was the underdog. Everyone loves to see the underdog come out on top. So this doesn't need a lot of explanation, as everyone knows about the underdog. David versus Goliath, Rocky, sports are filled with them, like the 1980 U.S. hockey team and their victory over the seemingly invincible Russian squad. And what about the Cubs? I love them, and you love them. Who doesn't? If you can be the role of the underdog, it's a great storyline. So these are just some of the basic storylines that are so successful. You can use them alone or combine several of them. The key is to have a story that shows who you really are and will attract your customer persona. So get started on getting really clear about your persona, and then create a great story that you'll love telling your best clients. But be easy on yourself. Sometimes this needs to percolate a little and will come to you when you're doing something else. So if you get stuck, just be in the moment and access your inspiration from your heart, not your head. You know, Sherry sometimes gets a lot of revelations in the shower, and I seem to too. I guess it's just something about being away and stop thinking about it. So the biggest thing to do is start, and don't be a perfectionist, and don't procrastinate. This is a work in progress, and it can always be changed. But most importantly, have fun with it. This is really a really exciting exercise, and it's going to be something that you are going to use for a long, long time. And thanks a lot.
All right. So, what did you think about the storylines? Did you see some storylines that you can picture yourself in? Did any of them jump out at you?
Several of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was sort of pieces of, you know, different ones, certainly not just one down the line.
Which ones did you like? Did you see yourself?
Go ahead, TJ.
What really kind of stuck out for me that I could probably, well, there's three that I could probably use and combine would be the comeback. It happened to me, so it can happen to you, and the third-party testimonial. Those three.
Now,
seem to be really strong.
The one thing that when you're using these, be real with them, because it's not enough to just say, you know, oh, I had an illness, and then I used what, you know, I used PMF, and now I'm better. You know, the more detail you can get into, the better it is. The more meat you give it, the more they like it. You know, they really want to know, well, why did you use that versus the other things? What was it that, what happened to you? And then what really, you know, what was your real experience with that? And what motivated you to make those decisions? When you put that meat on the bone, it really makes it a much better story. They don't, if you just kind of gloss over it, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, you know, whatever. You know, the more emotional, like Sherry has this really unusual trait to make people cry. And if you can make somebody cry, you know, yeah, I nailed it. You know, that's a good one. We got to keep that one. And so if it makes yourself cry, that's a really good one. Because you've heard it a lot before.
Yeah.
So Roxanne, what were your what ones? And about TJ, you know, about doing the 3 in a row. Yeah, we used the comeback. We used it happened to me. We used the personal testimonials. You know, I really did have a 30-year back problem that I healed with PMF. It really did help me, and we have had the comeback. So we've used all those, and all those were really, really successful.
Yeah, for our story here, it definitely would be, you know, the personal testimony. It happened to me, it can happen to you, and then maybe a little bit of sort of the secret, because you know, people are not out Googling PEMF quite yet, but they are Googling all these things, you know, obviously that it can address. So, you know, kind of that secret component as well, I think.
That's good. And, you know, we can speak to PMF because, you know, we lived it for 5 years or so, but
right.
People really, they want to know about PMF, and they want, you know, this is really holds true for all practitioners. They want to know about the modality a little bit, but what they really want to know about is how is it going to help them?
Right.
You know, what is the major benefit that you're offering? And, you know, every single person has a unique offering. We're all unique individuals. And the more that you can bring out your own unique strengths and overcome your weaknesses, you know, go ahead, TJ.
One of the issues that I'm looking at that in developing my story is that in this other coaching thing that I'm doing, the one area of pain that I've experienced in my life that I can condense down is loss. And what I did was I have 12 different categories for that one category that I can develop something for. So with this program, I would take one of them. I have loss, which would be divorce, death, career, physical pain, headaches, migraines, neck pain, muscular pain, emotional pain, abuse, low esteem, anxiety. So I would take one out of those 12 and develop a story for a mass email.
Yeah, and the way that that you'll see it all come together is that, yeah, you really want to focus in on. Now the story is a little bit different because you can bring more of those elements in there, but when you start really targeting your marketing message, you want to focus in on one of those specifically, and then you can kind of bring in it once you have your main unique benefits. You can kind of look at it from different angles, okay? Like loss, for example. You know, you can look at that from, you know, the different angles of loss of a spouse, loss of, you know, your son, loss of your dog. You know, you can bring in it from different angles. And as you have different messages, that will attract different people around that core idea, okay?
Right.
So but you do want to have like really specific messages because you don't want to talk about loss as a general thing. It just gets into, it just becomes blah, blah, blah. But loss of my son, like, oh my God, someone that's gone through that, or even people that haven't, they can really identify with that, you know?
Correct.
So that's where you really, that's what gets the emotions going. And you don't want to tell people what their emotions are. You want to let them fill that blank in. You just want to paint the picture of the event. What you're trying to do is you're trying to create
my experience.
You're trying to create
my experience.
Yes, and you're trying to create them feeling that in the way that they feel that. You know what I'm saying? So people don't have to be told how they feel, but they want to be told to feel something. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't tell somebody what it feels like, you know, to see their son move off from college, you know, like, oh, you should be feeling this and this and this. But, you know, you can paint the picture of your son leaving home for the very first time and, you know, getting, you know, just having that feeling of the empty house and all that. And, you know, and that will elicit their own emotions. And if you've pulled their emotions into it, it's going to be way stronger than if you're trying to tell them what the emotions are.
So it'd just be telling my story of what I've experienced.
And
with different
that, right. And so that's the first part of it, telling them the story of your experience. And what makes it transition or transformational is then this event caused me to do this that gave me that result. And that result is then, you know, it came for me, and now it can come for you too. So I know the way to go through this event that you may be experiencing, and I can help you through that. That's how you bring it back to you. Because what are the reasons why people are going to use you versus not doing it or anything else? There's really, number one, you have a proven system. You know how to get the result. And number two is that you can get them there faster than they could get there on their own. So if you can convince them that they can do those two things, you have a system that you know it's worked for you, or you know works, and you can get them faster. So for PMF, you have a back pain, you've tried everything. I know I have a device that can get you out of pain, and it can get you out of pain faster than you could be if you just sat on the couch, or if you went to the physical therapist and he bent you into a pretzel, you know, or if you took a bunch of drugs and, you know.
Exactly. We can do it without drugs. We can do it without, you know, invasive procedures, you know, all that. There's a lot of selling points.
But the selling points, the real power in the selling point is the emotion that they feel for the result. You want to be painting the picture. This story thing is all about painting the picture of the result, telling the story the way that you want it to be, and then creating the feelings of how that story turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
This is like an art. This is like I'm trying to teach you how to paint the Mona Lisa. You know, it's like
without eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
if you're into eyebrows.
Well, it's interesting when I started hearing you use the terminology about, you know, telling our story, because two of the things that I do with all of my new patient consults is I give them, you know, just a brief little history of us and how we came to be, kind of thing. But then I stop talking and I sit back and I say, Now, I want you to tell me your story, from wherever you started having issues to what brought you to being with me here today. And then I sit back and I close my mouth and I listen to everything they have to say. Some of it is useful, some of it's not. That's okay. I'm filtering as I'm listening, but I'm allowing them to feel heard and to tell their story too. So that mentality, I guess, is something that's already kind of ingrained into our clinic here. So it was when you started using that terminology, like it really resonated with me.
And you can do the same thing online. And the biggest thing that you're doing is that you do need to create this safe space for them to tell their story. And you sharing your story and being open and honest about it and being maybe, telling some things that are maybe uncomfortable for you, it creates that feeling of trust and reciprocity. And then they're like, okay, this is somebody that I could probably trust and that could understand me and my problems. And it's funny, it's a funny thing we did in our Jumpstart programs. The first day we would all sit in a big circle and we would start out the Jumpstarts. This is our Jumpstart program here. I don't know about it. It was 3 days of a very intensive PMF training, hands-on training. We usually did at a horse show, and people would fly from all over the world, really, to be with us for 3 days. And we would start it out by us spending, really, they'd end up spending the whole morning, the first morning, on us sitting in a big circle telling our story. And I would start out telling my story, our story, and then Sherry would always add the color, but frequently I would end up crying halfway through it, and it was embarrassing, but it was something that was just came from my heart. And I was, telling him something that was really personal. And it created, we got so many people crying in that time. It was, and they all really just poured their heart out and told us all, what their pains were and why they came here, and that they just got fired from their jobs and they were looking for a new start and or just left their, that all the different things that they had gone through to get there and what their expectations and dreams were. And it bonded us like, it made those 3 days be like, when we left, when everybody was leaving, it was like hugging and everything. It made that experience like so powerful. And that's, we started it by opening ourselves up and creating a safe space for everybody to share in. And you can do this. We found you can do the same thing online. You can do the same thing in your marketing. That, especially as a practitioner, is so important because they'll come in to see you, and if you do this right, they will come in to see you, and the first thing they may do is to come up and hug you, and be like they know you, they love you, like you're like their best friend, like, oh my God, I can't believe I finally get to meet you.
And see, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, because one of the strengths that we definitely have here is, caring about people as well as caring for them, and giving them a safe place where they feel, they feel important, they feel like they matter, they feel heard. All of those things are, definitely strengths of ours, or strengths of mine. And so, like I say, once I have somebody in front of me, I can communicate all of that, very naturally, and it just comes very easily. So that is something that's really important to me to be able to bring into this email campaign, because that really is the core of who and what we are,
Then you need to say that.
Yeah.
One of the things, John, one of the things that I wanted to share is when John and I were creating our email campaigns, and we literally just sat and talked a lot about the process that we would have with people. Like, what would be the initial things that we would say to people that would get their interest? and then what would be the logical next step of the questions they would ask, and how would we respond to that? And so if you really think of that, if you take your experience in the office, or if you take your experience just when you're out in the world and you start talking to people, you know, with your little elevator speech, or, you know, just at a social event or whatever, and you say something and you see that, wow, it like piques somebody's interest, and then what do they say next, or what questions do they ask next, and how do you respond?
Mm-hmm.
That's a really great place to start. That's a really great place to start, because that is your authentic message, and it helps you have a very logical sequence to your emails. You know, like for us, I mean, our most successful campaign was dreaming of a career with horses, because we started out this whole thing with, well, I'll even go back further. I don't know, John, I don't think you've told the story of our mantra and all that, and John's story about when we got the trip to Atlantis and all that stuff, but probably not yet. So, okay, I'll just give you the little clip notes of this.
And I think
so. John had
appropriate to tell it now, because this is our story, you know, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you a framework and examples and stuff. And it's like, and, you know, just if you see stuff that you like, oh, that's good, you know, take what you get from everybody else, and then you'll weave it into your own. So go ahead to tell them our story.
Okay. So part of the thing was, so John and I had a really successful business as real estate developers when we were in Wisconsin, and you know, had things really teed up. I mean, John had done amazing things. We had, I don't know, thousands of acres of land, and we're building home developments. We were building a Marriott hotel, which, oh my God, you like literally need like military clearance to do. It's unbelievable. And when the whole real estate crash happened, we just saw our life literally fall away one piece at a time. It was unbelievable. And John sat and stared at MSNBC and CNN for a year, and it just was horrible. And we always say we lost everything, but we didn't. We lost material things because we didn't lose each other. We didn't lose our family. Unfortunately, at the time, we had a huge horse breeding operation of over 30 horses, which, you know, nobody was buying horses then even. So anyway, though, before this all happened, knew we wanted to live someplace else. We had it with Wisconsin winters and everything. And so we had been in a search for where to move. And so we had decided on North Carolina. And when all this happened, we were like, well, we got to start over. I guess let's start over where we want to be. And we, like the Clampetts, loaded up the truck and moved to North Carolina, and ended up having to move our horses, one 4-horse trailer at a time, John did, to North Carolina. And what was crazy about it is we ended up moving into a farm that was our dream farm that we had made a deal to purchase, but then I didn't have the money to purchase, but they didn't have anybody for it. So we ended up being able to move into it anyway. But we arrived literally with how much money in our pocket, John?
$34.
$34.
Yeah.
And
That's scary.
It was an unbelievable, and 38 horses. John literally was making horse deals on the phone on the way to North Carolina, selling horses that would have been $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 for like $3,000. You know, the craziest part.
We sold one horse.
What?
We sold one horse named Nike to one of the neighbors
down
the street from our farm. That for $120 because my son needed shoes for basketball shoes. So he had grown like 8 inches over the summer and was trying out for basketball and didn't have any basketball shoes. And so we sold our horse named Nike to someone down the road for $120 that he took and bought his basketball shoes with, a pair of Nikes. Like,
so anyway, you know, we had to literally survive and recreate our life. And so one of our favorite marketing stories that will I hope be of a great inspiration, and I am going to get to the next story, is we had all these horses, and so the people who owned our dream farm also owned this old thoroughbred farm up the road that was in such bad shape but had incredible pastures and was amazing. And they're like, you can just use the old farm, put your horses out there, you know, we don't care. And we literally called it the old farm, and it was kind of creepy and kind of felt haunted. But anyway, it was beautiful for the horses. And so they had these old run-in sheds, and we were literally in there cleaning out the run-in sheds. And John and I are really into gardening and organic, everything, you know, healthy. And as we're cleaning this out, I mean, this is like composted horse manure that's been like composted for like a decade. And it is, I don't know if either of you are gardeners. It was like, it was amazing. I mean, we're in there. And John goes, holy crap, man, we could sell this stuff.
Literally.
And I looked at him and I said, yes, we could. We could sell this stuff. Now, life was so bad at this point that the Humane Society was helping us feed our
no money.
We had no money. Like you just can't even believe it. So we would get the bags from the feed mill in these plain bags, right? They would mix up this grain for us, and we would get it, and we were so grateful. And this is going to lead to the rest of the story where, out to them, when we got back on our feet, I would help the Humane Society. Anyway, I looked at him and I said, yes, we could sell this stuff. And a lightning bolt, it came to me, holy crap, a blessing for your garden, right? And John created this little stand, and we would put the feed bags from the horses in, fill them with the holy crap. And I literally wrote on the bags, holy crap, a blessing for your garden. And I made up this sign with a garden angel and all this stuff. And we would take it to the farmer's market and sell it for $5 a bag. And that was how we made grocery money. And on the way there, we would stop and pick wildflowers and put them in canning jars that I got for like $0.25 at the Goodwill. And we would sell these wildflowers. And so the moral of the story is, by creating a good story, we literally sold horse crap in horse country. I mean, we're in the middle of horse country. This is called Tryon horse country. And people would buy it just for people would buy it just to give somebody a bag of holy crap. We were down to one vehicle. And remember, we would make our deliveries of holy crap to people, because even if you live in horse country, that doesn't mean you have a truck or whatever. And it was a really funny story. But we eventually, you know, John said, wait a minute, I'm not a real estate guy, I'm a salesperson. And we went through all these different gyrations. I worked the census. Oh my God, what an experience, working the 2010 census. John ended up getting a job with Xerox, and within 2 years becoming the #1 salesman in North America, okay? Which sounds pretty amazing, but once you were your own, you know, we had our own company for years. Working for corporate America, it just was not what we wanted. And as his award for winning the salesman, the second in a row, they sent us on a trip to Atlantis in the Bahamas. I don't know if either of you guys have ever been there. And I don't know if you're gamblers, but we're not gamblers. And
Gamblers or smoke.
Atlantis in the Bahamas is really cool, except that the hotel is built in front of this, water park area where the bass music starts playing at 9 in the morning. And literally to get to the beach, you have to go through the casino, which is smoke filled and just horrible. And they paid for our airline and our hotel, but they didn't pay for our food. And it literally was like $73 for breakfast. It was so ridiculous. And we looked at each other and said, this is not us. This is not how we want to live our life. We're never doing this again. We're never doing this again. We want to go where we want to go. We want to do what we want to do. And at the time, we were reading a wonderful book by Wayne Dyer that I just highly recommend. I highly recommend any book by Wayne Dyer, but it's a book called Wishes Fulfilled, and it literally takes you through the steps of manifesting your life. And so this one morning, I just said to John, we have to figure out what we want. We have to figure out what we want. This is, so we sat in the hotel room. Really, how long, John? I don't know, like a whole morning, like 3-4 hours with a notepad, and just started writing down all the things we want, all the things we want, all the things we want, and ended up narrowing it down to, we want a positive, simple, well, I take it back. The first step was we want to be our own boss, which is kind of funny now, but we want to be our own boss. We want to have a positive, simple, happy, because we've been dealing with banks and lawyers in the real estate world. We want a positive, simple, happy, extremely successful business, helping people and animals, working together from a horse farm we own and love in Tryon, North Carolina, using our own unique talents and abilities, somehow make a positive difference in the world. Okay. And I have it memorized because we said it so many times. And so we wrote this out, and then the two of us would read this every morning and lay and picture the feelings of this being real. Okay. At that time, I had never even heard of PMF therapy. John's back was getting so bad, he couldn't even stand for 20 minutes. He was gaining weight and couldn't be physically active. And I kept saying, this is ridiculous. You got to get healthy. I want to be trekking the Himalayas in my 80s, and you better be with me. So 6 months later, we found out about this crazy thing called PEMF. I researched it for 6 months, and then we bought a PMF system, MagnaWave, which is a whole nother big story. And within 6 months, we were able to quit Xerox and start and have our own life that met everything that was in that little mantra. So having a really distinct, it amazes us. It absolutely amazes us, because the craziest thing is how I heard about PEMF was from Tommy, our daughter's husband. They're not married, but they might as well be. They've been together so long. Telling me this story about how he heard about this woman who did this crazy thing called PMF therapy, and it literally made her insane. That was how I heard about PEMF for the first time. And being the weirdo research person I am, I'm like, but wait, but why? Why was she doing it? And what was she doing? And she was doing it on horses. And I'm like, what? Doing it on horses? And so I'm like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And so anyway, so that's our crazy story. Okay. So, and the reason that I'm telling you that is, the core of that story was, using our own unique talents and abilities and passions. And so when we made this transformation from being practitioners to selling systems, we didn't sell systems. We never sold a PEMF system. Okay. And that's a really just a really important difference. We sold a dream.
Yeah.
We sold the dream of having a career with horses. We sold the dream of making a positive difference in the lives of people and animals. We sold the dream of having the freedom of being your own boss and spending your days in the barn instead of the cubicle. We sold the dream of working together as a couple, do something we're passionate about and that we loved. And because we had lived that, because we had lived the desire for that dream, right, we were able to sell. And I say sell because, I mean, that's what we're all doing. I mean, every day in our world, in our life, people selling gets such a bad rap. But day long we're selling, you know, we're selling to, you know, I'm selling to my grandson why he's got to get dressed, you know, to be on time for school. You know, we're persuading people and showing people what's possible and why and all that stuff. So when you guys are sitting there to write this, think about your own dream as to why you're doing what you're doing, okay? TJ, something that really resonated with me when you were talking is I also have a story of loss in my life, and I'm trying to get over that story. I had really gone through a really terrible divorce before I met John and had a completely different experience. And you know, we just went through a loss with our business and things like that. And so for me, when I think of loss, it's an inability to move forward. Like
Yes.
when something happens and it cuts you to your core and it leaves you feeling vulnerable and like, wait a minute, you know, my world just changed. I liken it to like when a horse spooks, I hunker down, I hunker down, it's like, okay, wait, I got to stay safe. I can't move. I can't move forward. So to me, like when I'm talking to people about loss, I mean, I don't know if you experience that yourself in your life. It
Yes.
It becomes very hard to move forward.
Yes. Something happened 30 years ago that I don't really talk about it because people can't handle it. And it left me paralyzed to where it's taken 30 years to start to socialize and actually think about being me again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I won't use that in my story. I won't use that.
And something that deep. Yes.
But
what you do know. That's right. That's right. And so, the thing of it is that's really interesting, that, we had done this amazing thing with Pulse Centers and had these 300 practitioners that were all our family, and it just was so wonderful. And then they just came and cut it out from under us. And then I was just talking to somebody today about it that literally is now just like, I can't even do this anymore because it's so different, because there's just no sense of community. There's no sense of we're all in this together. There's no sense of we really care about you. We really care about you and your success and what's so again, it's that. And really, some of the things and the emails and stuff that John and I wrote and stuff maybe would sound really personal, or me sitting here and telling you this story right now sounds really personal, but you want to know what, guys? We're all people. Everybody's looking for community. Everybody's looking for somebody to understand them. And the reason that you've been drawn to this type of a business as a healing practitioner is because you're empathetic, you're caring, you have a compassion. Don't be afraid to show that. Don't be afraid to show that. And that doesn't make you unprofessional. That doesn't make you, sappy, or, I mean, I don't know. I just shared a really intimate story I hope it makes you be able to see me more as a person and feel more that you could trust me more, or that I'm more real, right? And so I think it's kind of funny. One of the things that I think as small businesses, people try to look like they're a corporation or have that image, but that's not really what people want. And what's really weird, you know, just about this whole internet world is that it's made us all connected, but less connected. And so it's kind of like things always come back around. People, you know, no, there's not the family doctor anymore, but maybe they can get that feeling from the two of you and what you're offering in your spaces.
Well, and actually the in the last several years, really since the advent of YouTube and the reality TVs and everything, really mainstream prefers the personal connection and are really rebelling against the corporate. Corporate stories, the corporate advertising, the corporate story, you know, that all stuff really, it does just is, even in, you know, the mainstream advertising world, they realize that, you know, having slick TV commercials just doesn't sell anymore. And you can produce something on your phone that gets much greater response than, you know, a $1 million produced TV commercial. And that is what people are really searching for, is connection. So
I agree.
So and that's so when you're doing that, you got to say that and tell people that, and you know, come right out with it. So, and you know what, the people that doesn't resonate with, that's okay.
Not our tribe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I have to share our practitioner prayer. So when John and I in the beginning, and like we got, I mean, like literally we were in Florida and we needed clients like to pay for our hotel room, like seriously. And we came up with this, you know, whatever you believe, dear God, universe, whatever. Thank you for attracting to us and bringing us people, the like-minded people that want, need, can easily afford, and will be dramatically helped by what we offer.
Wow, that's powerful.
We would just sit and say, that, and
I just tell you, I don't tell this to really anybody, but I guess I'm gonna spill the beans. But Archangel Raphael is specifically interested in healing, especially with animals, but specifically interested in healing. And I found our business really took a major move forward when I really felt when I started really communicating with Archangel Raphael, when I would visualize saying that prayer to him, and trying and getting and saying, you know, help me, bring me the right people that need it, and need it, want it, can easily afford it, and that really are going to benefit from this. And I really wasn't that much of a believer, but I watched a video on it. I'm like, what the heck? I might as well try it. And I mean, it worked. It really, and so I really felt like there was, and when you're in the healing thing, you know, there's another thing that we listen to a lot, and it's like, you know, the people that are out there praying for it, then they're praying, you know, what is it, the people that are looking for it are looking for me. And
what you are seeking is seeking you.
Yeah. And so when you allow that to happen, the people that are seeking you, the people you are seeking are also seeking you. When you allow that to happen, it opens the gates, you know, and
it's like you're an answer to each other's prayers, right? Like that's the goal of the thing. So I'll put my little practitioner prayer, our group, and I'm also going to put the wonderful meditation that we do that's really powerful. And the other thing that I just wanted to share is another really fun mantra that we literally like would write on the mirror with soap in the hotel rooms when we were on the road was, we have a lot of money, we have a lot of fun, and we help a lot of people and animals. So like for business, I mean, that's really what we're all wanting. We want to have a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. We want to have a lot of fun, and we want to help a lot of people and animals. So, so they're just some of our mantras and stuff like that, and some of our story, and so just to finish up what I was saying. So when now you both have your stories of why you're doing what you're doing and so forth, but when we wrote those emails, it truly was with the tone of, we did this and you can too. John healed his back, or in our case, we were selling the dream of this business, or you overcame your loss, or I don't know if you, Roxanne, you guys have a pain story that led you to PEMF. People want that it gives them confidence to hear someone else say, oh, okay, so wait, so I got to just finish a part of the story that I missed, because this is what's really interesting, that we're here sitting teaching what we're teaching right now. So I had mentioned in the story that I said when we got back on our feet, I was going to help the Humane Society. So I don't know at what point we got back on our feet, and John literally sold a Xerox machine to our local foothills shelter. And when he was there talking to the lady, and so we've always been really involved with rescue, and and so, but of course we weren't when we were in this circumstance. And somehow he got talking to this lady, and she said, wow, she sounds like she would be perfect on our board. I think we could use her on our board. And somehow I ended up on the board of this Humane Society, in charge of their marketing, and realized this Humane Society had the crappiest website on the planet. They had no Facebook page. They had no email list. They had no email campaign. And I taught myself how to do all of that for the Humane Society, to pay back the Humane Society.
That's awesome.
And I kept saying,
at the time,
let's do it for us.
And then we started our PMF business. And so I created that website myself up till all hours of the night. And I remember at the time, this is so funny, saying to John, we really need to get a strong presence on Facebook. Like, I'm telling you, this is how we're going to build our business. He's like, oh, that's BS. What are you talking about? He's like, okay, yeah, you want to start a page, okay. And he would like mock me at it. It was really funny. And then all of a sudden we started keeping track of where our leads and stuff were coming from. Do you remember that, honey? When you looked at me and you're like, wow, there's something to this Facebook thing. I think I'm going to learn about it.
Yeah, like all of a sudden I realized like half our leads are coming from Facebook. I'm like, wow, maybe we should really pay attention. And
then I got this email about this guy who could teach you how to do like emailing and stuff. And I was like, John, oh my God, we got to check this out. And he did, and ended up like a fish to water. John learned this stuff. It was crazy. But so the moral of the story of this whole thing, though, when you're feeling overwhelmed, is I had never been to a computer class. I went to college. I've never had a marketing class in my life. I was born with some weird marketing gene, but I taught it all to myself just by having a desire, a really strong desire, which at that point was helping the Humane Society because they had helped keep our horses alive. And then, like the wonderful way the universe works, that then ended up helping us to then build our own business. And now the universe comes around again, that now we're helping other people do that. So isn't that kind of cool? So it can seem a little overwhelming, but I'm telling you, if I do it, you guys can do it. That's so. See?
If we can do it, you can do it too.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, yeah.
All right, honey. Well, we're at the end. We're past our time.
I know, we're over time. We're over time. But we wish you guys good luck, and we're here for you. And I see.
And we hope our stories have inspired you and given you some little breadcrumbs to follow a path with. And you know, it's a really exciting time, and you'll never be where you are right now, and you'll look back. The best thing about doing your story is creating your story and then coming back and going like, oh my God, I can't believe this stuff came true. So CJ,
do you want us to email you our story before next week?
If you can come up with it, absolutely. I would love to see it. Yes.
Oh, something. Okay. It'll be a start. Okay.
And you know, it always is a start because we're always evolving. We're always changing. And what you're going to do is it's really important to come up with a baseline, but then you're going to start to see, oh, this resonates with other people and this doesn't. I found a little better way to say it this way that makes people really more interested and I feel better about. So then you'll see your story will evolve. But this where we are right now is just really getting a start.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Very good meeting. I hope this helps you.
Very helpful, and thank you and Sherry both for being so open and sharing with us tonight. It's very helpful, so thank you.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. I'm so enjoying this course and Sherry. Yeah, it's fantastic. So thank you. I'm very grateful.
It's been our pleasure, really.
Great. You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. All right.
Yes.